Hello, friends. I am Lacey. This armpit noodle is Lieutenant Dan, and you are watching Reptiles. Now, today, we are talking about another lizard. I know, two lizards in a row. What, is she gone crazy? Has she lost her mind? No, these ones are just really cool. Because last week we talked about the marine iguanas, which are really sick. Those are so cool. And this week we're talking about another lizard. And this one is a personal favorite of mine. One day I would love to have one because they're just so cool. They're so neat. And this is actually a venomous lizard, which is so cool. You never hear about lizards being venomous. You're just like, oh, look at that cute lizard. Not like, look at that sweet little venom potato. And if some of you who know what I'm talking about, simply because I said venom potato. Now, I'm originally from Southern California, so I grew up, hearing about Gila monsters and kind of knowing about generally that Gila monsters existed. And, like, if you see them, don't mess with them. They'll bite you, and it sucks. But I hadn't really looked. Oh, obviously, I was like 7. Okay, so I hadn't looked deeply into Gila monsters besides knowing they existed. I am a big fan of their Latin name, which is Heloderma suspectum. Sounds like a Harry Potter spell. Heloderma suspectum. And I love that, like, suspicious bumps. I think that's like the translation. Like, it's like suspectum, and Heloderma has to do with the bumps on their skin because they're actually bones. Every bump you see on a Gila monster, those are actually just part of their skeleton, and the skin grows over them. Which is so cool, right? Oh my gosh. So, Gila monsters, they can be kept legally as pets, but I don't think you cannot keep them in the regions where they are native. So you can't keep them in California, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, and I want to say Utah, but I could be very wrong. And because they're highly protected, they are the rarest reptile to find in the Sonoran Desert. So the range of the Gila monster, it's pretty specific. They're pretty specifically a desert reptile. You can sometimes find them in eastern California in the Mojave Desert. You can sometimes find them like in the Chihuahuan Desert, like out in New Mexico. But they are primarily from the southern Sonoran Desert. And they'll range from mostly the southern Sonoran Desert down into Mexico, and kind of that Chihuahuan region, and then down into Guatemala. And that's their range. And they are the only venomous lizard in in North America, in the United States, because Canada, clearly, they're not going to have a big ol' venomous lizard. That'd be cool. If they find one, I want to know. But the other one lives mostly down in Mexico, because there's only 2 venomous lizards in the Americas. Which is kind of cool. Let's go us. Everyone else has crazy venomous cobras and stuff, but no. We have Gila monsters. Take that, rest of the world, with your crazy animals. Take that, Australia. You don't have a Gila monster. We do. Now, Gila monsters, they can get like 22 inches long, so that's pretty big. That's pretty decent size for a lizard, because it's nearly 2 feet long. They have very round, very heavy bodies. They've got a big fat head and a short, stubby tail, kind of fat, where they hold all their fat, and these short, stumpy little legs with these long claws and long kind of toes. They are crepuscular, like Lieutenant Dan here, meaning that they only really come out in the early morning, late afternoon. That's their window to shine. Early in the morning, we haven't yet had the heating of the day, that intense heating of the day that you get in the Sonoran Desert. Or, in the afternoon, it's cooled down a little bit, but it hasn't had that intense night drop that the desert loves to get. They do spend like 98% of their time underground in burrows. And they've sometimes been found sharing their burrows with desert tortoises and even like snakes, which is kind of cool. But also could be a little awkward because when they eat their food, they will eat small mammals like baby rabbits, pack rats, other rodents. They'll eat eggs, nestling birds, like we do babies. They eat the babies. That's why they're monsters. and they'll eat little bitty baby snakes. So if they're sharing a burrow with the snake, it better be a big enough snake to where they're like, I'll pass on this meal, thank you. Now, because the Sonoran Desert, it's a rough environment. Everything that lives in the Sonoran Desert, or any major desert, has some crazy adaptations to survive. Water is obviously hard to come by. Sometimes food can be really, really scarce. And the Gila monster, in the spring, they're mostly active in the spring because the temperatures are great, generally. In the spring, they can eat 3 to 4 meals, 35% of their body weight, and that can sustain them for the entire year, all the way up until the next spring. And they get a majority of their water from the food they eat. Now, if there's a monsoon or a large rainstorm, then yeah, they're going to go and drink some water, most probably. But generally, they kind of just get what they get from their 3 to 4 meals. If, they can be more lucky, they can be less lucky, but generally, 3 to 4 meals in the spring. Crazy, absolutely crazy. So they're eating these meals in the spring. They're focusing on getting food in the spring. So later, summertime, July to August, that is when the females will lay their eggs in their dens. So they lay their eggs in these burrows and they incubate for an incredible 130 days. That's like 4.5 months or something like that. That's wild. So you got July, August, they're laying, September, October, November, December, January. Like, that's insane. Right at the start of the spring season, they're popping out and they're getting their first 3 to 4 meals. It's cool. Nature is cool. Gila monsters are cool. And most importantly, desert environments are dope. I love the desert. It's beautiful. Now, I haven't touched on their venom yet. I wanted to tell you the cool things about them first, which, venom is still pretty cool. It's kind of like one of the reasons they're so cool, because they're a venomous lizard. And clearly, Daniel is not venomous. He is a doopy boy. But their venom, it is supposed to be pretty potent and very painful. The bite won't kill you, typically, but it's going to give you a week you will never forget, is my understanding. I'm talking like diarrhea, nausea. You're going to be living in your bathroom for like a week. You're not going to forget that you got bit by a Gila monster. And that short, stout head they have, they are said to grab on like bulldogs and just lock in. And the longer they chew on you, the more venom is released into your body, because they don't have these like hypodermic teeth that like cobras have, right? To inject the venom. No, they gotta chew it in. The venom is produced by a gland in their mouth, and it runs down the grooves of their teeth and mixes with saliva. So while they're chewing and grabbing, the more venom you're getting in your system. Now, people don't typically die from this venom unless they're a very small child, and therefore a smaller body can't handle that much venom. They have a pre-existing medical condition that exacerbates the venom. Or they have a venom allergy, which we've discussed previously on this channel. Generally, you're going to be okay if you get bit by a Gila monster. It's going to suck really bad, but you'll be okay. Which is, I think, probably why I would like a Gila monster. I don't intend to bite it, and I would intend to take care of it very carefully and very safely. But there is still that bite, and I would really like to not spend a week in the bathroom. But I would love to have a venom potato. Because just a little piece of home, a little piece of the desert Southwest, and I would love that. Now, if you yourself would like a Gila monster, be sure to check your state and local laws, because generally venomous animals have some restrictions on their keeping. Technically in Missouri, I was reading the law, and it was kind of stupid because it said that you cannot keep any dangerous poisonous animals. And I was like, well, technically it's not poisonous. It's venomous. So technically I can keep it. And if you do keep those animals in Missouri, then you have to report, at least for my area of Missouri, you have to report it to your local sheriff's department that you in fact have this animal. So be sure, check your local laws, make sure that it's okay to have one, and understand if you're going to have one, it's venomous, big bite, it could be a problem. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you for letting me share some Gila monster knowledge with you, Mr. Heloderma suspectum. Thank you for letting me share what I know about Gila monsters with you, because Gila monsters are so cool. They're one of the coolest lizards. And for the rest of the week, you have a good time, make wise choices, and never stop learning, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Just look at Daniel. Bye, guys!